Hey guys, welcome back to another Lusty94 script showcase video. Today we are looking at my latest free release, Job Center. This script is fully modular. Server owners can create as many Job Center locations as they wish, allowing players to visit and apply for various work roles with the salary and information regarding the job being displayed. They can also get licenses such as driving, business or weapons, and identity documents like a passport or job-based documents such as a police or medic badge. As I mentioned, this script is fully modular. You can set Job Center locations to only have jobs available, only licenses, or only documents, or you can have all three. It is infinitely expandable for your server requirements. So let's get straight into it and take a look at some of the features. Okay, so to start, simply visit the Job Center. You can then choose to spawn a PED at the location or a target zone at each location. This location in particular has a target zone, so you'd interact with it, and this opens the main menu. Here you can select to view available jobs, licenses or identity documents. Selecting the available jobs option will open a submenu with all of the available jobs that you define in the config file. These jobs must be in your jobs.lua file to function correctly. A small description is provided via the config file, and the salary figure is fetched directly from the jobs.lua file. Selecting a job will open a confirmation window detailing the employment selected and the starting salary available, and asks if you want to accept this. Confirming your choice will then start a small progress circle and animation of you filling out the information required. Once your job has been applied, the menu option to select that offer is then disabled, so you can't apply for the same job. There is also a configurable cooldown to prevent job swapping abuse or exploits. Okay, so on to the licenses next. To view licenses that you can purchase, open the main menu and select the licenses option. Selecting that will open a submenu of all available licenses that can be purchased at this location. You can set different locations to have different licenses if required. Any licenses that you don't have are disabled. Licenses must be granted via the police or defined jobs in the config file. They can use the command /give license and specify the player's server ID and the license type. Any licenses you add or wish to grant to players must be in your QB Core config file under the licenses metadata table. Selecting a license type will open an input window where you select your payment type, either bank or cash. If these are set to free, this payment method window is skipped. Confirming your payment choice starts a small progress circle and animation for filling out the information required. These items are usable and display the respective data for that document. You can define any item you want to be usable and the data that you want to apply to the items easily via the relative server function. Using the item will start a small animation, and a notification is sent to nearby players displaying the information on that document. Okay, lastly, let's look at the identity documents. Opening the main menu and selecting the identification option will open a submenu of all identity documents available. All players can purchase their passport, as this is their own identity document, and it is advised to keep this freely available at all locations you define. As you can see, there are also badges for police, lawyers and medical staff, with the option to easily add more. For the job-based items, you can set a required job and a required rank to get that item if you wish. If these conditions are not met, then the menu option to get that is disabled. If the document has a cost defined via the config, once selected in the menu, an input window opens where you can choose your payment type. Confirming starts a progress circle and an animation for filling out the required information. If the cost is set to 0, then the payment method input is skipped. The usable item logic applies to both licenses and identity documents, and again you can easily add custom items and define their respective data you wish to be applied. When the item is used, the same as the licenses, a small animation is played and a notification to nearby players is displayed of all the relevant data. Okay, so let's take a look at the commands. So to grant licenses, firstly, for the data to be applied correctly, licenses and documents must be given through this script. If you use the add item command for admins, it will not apply any of the relevant data and will give you errors when you use the item. So ensure players that always get their licenses or documents through this script and not through other means. In order for players to be granted licenses, jobs that are defined in the config file and match the correct rank can use commands to give or revoke licenses. The first command is /give license, where they declare the server ID of the player and the license type that they wish to grant. This license must be in your QB core config file in the licenses metadata table in order to be applied correctly. The player can then open the main menu, select the licenses, and the license that they have just been granted is then available to purchase. If this license is then revoked, the menu option is then disabled. Okay, so the other command available is to remove licenses from players. The same applies as giving license. The defined jobs and ranks can use the command /remove license, where they declare the server ID of the player and the license type that they wish to remove. Again, this license must be in your QB core config under the licenses metadata table. Using the command then removes the specified license from that player, and the menu option to purchase that item is then disabled until it's granted again. Okay guys, so you have reached the end of the showcase video for this Job Center script. As I mentioned in the intro, this script is fully modular and you can define as many locations, jobs, licenses and documents as you wish. It is infinitely expandable to suit your server requirements. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and also join my Discord if you haven't already. I host regular giveaways there and post special discount codes and some script previews too, so don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.